At this point, we've got a functioning Morse code keyboard. Now we're going to add a few extra bits. So first thing we're going to do is hide everything until the user presses the start button. And to do that, we're going to set the visible flags to false for the countdown. And then instead of these individual images, we're going to make the row invisible. And same thing with the buttons. So now all the user sees is the start button. And when the user hits start, we'll bring everything back. Set the countdown, the user input, the images row, and the buttons row to true. And in order to get rid of them, when the user hits the stop button, we'll set them back to false. Now, when I live test, it starts out with nothing. We get all the pieces. When I hit stop, they all disappear again. Okay, now next thing we want to do is add some error checking. So in dot and dash, if the user enters the wrong code, nothing happens. So what we're going to do instead is if they enter a wrong dot or dash, it immediately resets the user input to empty. So once we've gotten the user input, we're going to check if they've entered the right thing. And what we're going to do is make sure everything they've entered so far is correct. So as soon as they stray from the target string, then we know it's not correct and we can reset. The way we're going to do this is we're going to use this find first occurrence. And we're going to look in the correct Morse code. And what find first occurrence does is it gives us, if we give it a string, it tells us where that string is in this bigger string. So what we want to see is that our user input starts at the first item in the letter in the Morse code string and goes all the and stretches as far as it can. So whatever they've entered, if you can't see that starting at position 1 in the string, then it's an error. And so what we're going to do is reset the user input to an empty string and make sure that's an empty string and not a space. And we're going to do the same thing in dash. So if I live test that, so dash dot dash dot dash dash. Now if I hit a dot, it resets. If I hit a dash here, it doesn't work. It only works if I enter the right string. Now the last thing we're going to do, this dot and this dash, this code is almost exactly identical. The only thing different is this little dot and dash here. So we're going to create one more function. I'm going to call it add letter. And let's just take everything from dash and we'll call that new input. And instead of add letter, I'm going to call that add input. And instead of this dash here, we're going to add the new input. So both dot and dash now change to add input. And for dot, it's a period. For dash, it's a hyphen. So let's try that out. That works. And if I hit the wrong thing, it resets. So we're done.